You know, when you're reading Japanese, but even though you know all the vocabulary, all the grammar in a sentence, you still get lost the longer sentences get. Well, I've been there as well, but after having read over 30 novels in Japanese, I noticed something regarding Japanese sentence structure. And I want to share with you what it is because understanding this really helps not getting lost with long sentences. And to do that, I will use a novel-like example where sentences get more and more complex as we progress. And by the end of the video, hopefully you'll be able to dissect even the most complex sentence that I will introduce to you today, which is this one, and also many other ones that you will definitely find as you immerse yourself in Japanese. Okay, we'll be reading the prologue of a book. And while I am simulating a novel, I tried not to use overly complex grammar, which would probably be used in a real book. Oh, and also, turn on the English captions if you need assistance with Japanese, and let's get started. ピーピーピーとアラームが鳴った。起床時間を告げるアラームが鬱陶しい。霧島良太がそう思って、アラームを止めるボタンを押した。So the first sentence, ピーピーピーとアラームが鳴った。The only thing that I want to comment here is that I will not be dealing with particles in this video. They are very important for comprehension, of course, but as I said before, I want to focus on structure here. So why was the ga particle used instead of the wa particle here? That doesn't really matter for this video. So let's continue. 起床時間を告げるアラームが鬱陶しい。Here we go. Can you see how we can break down this sentence that I've just read into two sentences? The first one is 起床時間を告げるアラーム and the second one is アラームが鬱陶しい and アラーム is the noun connecting these two sentences. This is basically how Japanese works. It usually has sentences within sentences. And that's especially easy to see when you have a noun separating these two sentences like in the example here. So if I analyze this example further, you see that first, alarm. You have a description of this alarm. What kind of alarm is it? どのようなアラームなのか。起床時間を告げるアラーム。And then in the second part of the sentence, you are free to further elaborate down on that noun. In this case, alarm. アラームが鬱陶しい。How do you feel about that alarm? そのアラームはどう思う？その起床時間を告げるアラームはどう思う？アラームが鬱陶しい。But it could have been anything else like アラームを食べた。Although it doesn't make sense, but just grammatically it's correct. Anyway, 起床時間を告げるアラームが鬱陶しい。And going on, 霧島良太がそう思ってアラームを止めるボタンを押した。現在時刻は午前六時だ。Now see here that even though we usually have sentences within sentences, it's a little bit different when we are simply connecting them. Here I use the the form as an example, because here, rather than being part of the sentence that follows, it's actually there to connect to the next sentence. So just to keep the flow of the text, instead of using the the form, you could just have ended the sentence there. 霧島良太がそう思った and then finish there, right? But just to keep the flow of the text, you use the the form, which is a little bit different from what I am explaining here or the other examples, like the other sentence. アラームを止めるボタンを押した which actually follows the same pattern that we just discussed before. アラームを止めるボタン。ボタンを押した So first I describe the noun, ボタン and then I further elaborate on it. I'm saying that I pressed that button. ボタンを押した and then 現在時刻は午前六時だ。この時間にアラームが鳴ることに良太は慣れている。音だけにはどうしても慣れない。スマホを手に取って窓のカーテンを開ける。この時間にアラームが鳴ることに良太は慣れている。There are two sentences here as well. Can you spot them? Yeah, here there's something to keep in mind. that some nouns act a little bit different, but these nouns are actually the most important nouns in Japanese. The first sentence here is この時間にアラームが鳴ること and ことに良太は慣れている。こと is the general noun for event and you can use it every time you are describing a general event. In this case, the event of この時間にアラームが鳴る. And then just as we saw with the other common nouns, just having it between your two sentences allows you to connect them. First, you describe that event, この時間にアラームが鳴る. And then you can further expand from that. In this case, this event, 良太は慣れている. The reason I said this noun is a little bit different is because when separating into two sentences, it's a little bit weird to say この時間にアラームが鳴ること and ことに良太は慣れている in isolation. It'd be something more like この時間にアラームが鳴る。そのことに良太は慣れている。Or something like that. Anyway, こと is used for general events, but it can usually be changed to no, which changes the nuance slightly. And if you're talking about things, then you can use mono for general things. And these are the three special general nouns that you should keep in mind. And now comes the final challenge. With the sentence within a sentence trick, you should be able to find your way through it. And to be honest, this sentence is a little bit long on purpose. It could be improved for better clarity, for example, but it's totally possible to find this kind of long sentences in books as well. And here we go. スマホを手に取って窓のカーテンを開ける。自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報から程遠い現在の空の様子に、良太は疑問を抱えている。今日は晴れじゃなかったのか。今日はいいことないかな。と思った良太は寝室を出ていた。Well, the other sentences between the one that I'm going to be focusing here follows the same pattern that we discussed before, so feel free to analyze them on your own. Now this one. What are the nouns that act as connectors to the sentences fused together? There are three, actually. Yeah, 天気予報、様子 and 良太 are the correct answers here. 自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報 and 天気予報から程遠い現在の空の様子 and 様子に良太は疑問を抱えている。By clearing each one of the sentences in isolation, it's much easier to get the bigger picture, don't you think? 自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報。First, I described that 天気予報。Now, I further expand from that. 天気予報から程遠い。If 程遠い is too hard of a word for you at this stage, you can just change it to 遠い. Just imagine that I'm talking about something very far, but not very far distance-wise, but actually very far, well, it's something that is very different. その天気予報から遠い空の様子。良太はね、その様子、その空の様子に疑問を抱えている。彼の気持ちはなんで今の空はこんな感じなの？空の様子に疑問を抱えている。その理由はわかりますか？はい。彼のスマホの天気予報は晴れなのに、実は今は雨。例えばね、Did you get it? 自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報から程遠い現在の空の様子に、良太は疑問を抱えている。If you still didn't get it, we can just discard all the extra information and leave just the core of the sentence. 天気予報から遠い様子に、良太は疑問を抱えている。And the full sentence, 自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報から程遠い現在の空の様子に、良太は疑問を抱えている。I will leave this dialogue in the description of the video in case you need it. And if you check it, or even if you don't, remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying this video so far. Anyway, let's read the whole thing again. ピーピーピーとアラームが鳴った。床時間を告げるアラームが鬱陶しい。霧島良太がそう思って アラームを止めるボタンを押した。現在時刻は午前6時だ。この時間にアラームが鳴ることに良太は慣れている。音だけにはどうしても慣れない。スマホを手に取って窓のカーテンを開ける。自分のスマホの画面に表示されている天気予報からほど遠い現在の空の様子に良太が疑問を抱えている。今日は晴れじゃなかったのか。今日いいことないかなと思った良太は寝室を出ていた。So, how do you feel after rereading the whole thing? Let me know in the comments if you think it made any difference. And also, after finishing this video, be sure to check a book or article or whatever, because you see that this pattern that I just introduced to you is present everywhere. ご清聴ありがとうございます。日本の小説を読めるようになりたいな。日本語をもっとうまく読めるようになりたいなと思う方はぜひ表示されている2つの動画も見てみてください。それではまたの機会でお会いしましょう。